Now we're going to slot in the energy sector, the oil and gas stocks on our market. The oil and gas sector index was the best performing yesterday, the second trading day of the week. And of course, thanks to Seplat. That's the only E&P, the exploration and production company. Of course, oil prices rallying strongly around the world. Brent around $54 a barrel yesterday afternoon. Even the U.S. oil trading ahead north of $50 a barrel. So we had Seplat gained about 3.44% yesterday. Getting that sector is green shoot among the big seven. So corn oil was unchanged. 40 oil sitting at 49.70. Pt.1 PLC, formerly Mobile, now was down about 1%. MRS also unchanged. Owando lost 1.06%. And of course, you know the news already around Owando. The Securities and Exchange Commission says this energy company can go ahead and conduct its annual general meeting on Monday, the 11th of September in Uyo. The Akwa Ibom capital says the petition by one of the shareholders to stop the annual general meeting has no merit, and that has been thrown out of the window. Now there's what they later officially written to Owando on the 31st of August says from the SEC. So you can see that already in the news. So Owando is cleared to take off for the annual general meeting. That's the story. Then of course, Total unchanged at 233. And I want to look at it. The daily index return is about 0.4% for the subsector. Year to date, that's about 9.3%. Still a very good reading, but lagging the broader market numbers. And of course, it's no longer news that we have the second quarter GDP, but the most important question Nigerians are asking from the street to the beer parlor and to the boardroom is, can we eat this GDP and exit recession? And that's the question I'm putting to Bolanle Olutosin, one of the economists and research analysts at Financial Derivatives Company. But before we eat GDP, let's start from cement, where the construction story is still there. Good morning. It's good to have you. Morning. So let's start with cement, which is a major story, and I'm sure you heard from Jimmy from Augusto & Co. about why cement is very critical and why that sector is growing. Now, Boa is putting out a $2 billion to add to what Dangote is already doing and Lafarge. Yeah. That sector looks very big. The key question is, why is cement price still above 2,000 naira per bag?
Yeah, so the cement market is already controlled by 70% is controlled by Dangote. So at this point, with this new investment, we've seen that the market is actually becoming oversupplied. So it's getting to a point where we could start exporting, cement. But at the same time, the ironic question is, why is this price still high? And it's key to remember that during the rainy season that we've had so far, cement is actually, the demand for cement actually reduces because there's less building, less construction during the rainy season. So that's one factor. But another factor we have to consider is that the cement industry is actually dependent on the power sector, in the sense that, power has only been recovering in the past few weeks. So they faced a situation where the price of diesel had been high coming till now, although the price of diesel has declined to 160 naira per litre. But the power challenges had also had significant effects on, the production of cement. But at this point, now that we're seeing that, we're getting to a point where we're actually self-sufficient in cement, and the demand for cement, the supply of cement is actually more than, the demand, then we should definitely see a decline in prices, but not at this time, because it'll take some time before we actually feel the impact, within the market. And also taking into consideration the fact that, there are lots of construction projects ready to be, road constructions that are in plans with the government, and railways and all that. And, actually with concrete, roads are more, they're much more long-lasting than bitumen roads, and they're 5 times, more expensive.
The demand for cement is not going to come down anytime soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Locally, they look at the disaster as far as flooding in Benue State is concerned, and neighboring states. But and you see a number of roads that are also getting washed off, and that's also on the news. So that means the cement will be a major factor, either for government or for the ordinary citizen.
Exactly.
And what that tells me is that even when we get into the dry season, because I'm sure what some folks will do in places like Benue and surrounding areas is to wait until the waters go away, the rains go away, then they're going to start buying cement.
Exactly.
And I expect those who are around that place
so
to make
the investment by Boa Group is actually very good, to contribute to what Dangote already has and Lafarge. So it's great news for the cement industry, but at the same time, it's to measure whether, the demand would outweigh supply. And if demand outweighs increase supply, then we should see hike in, you know, prices. But if the supply that we're seeing now is able to cover the existing or the potential demand that is going to happen in the industry, then we should definitely.
So the cost is key.
Cost is very
Cost is key,
yes.
and that comes from energy.
Yes.
Electricity side of it,
yeah.
Because we've seen petrol and diesel a little bit quiet. But let's get to let's go to the dining table, and we're going to have dinner right now. Or let's have breakfast, maybe. I've got about 2 cups of tea today, and you had any?
No, actually. No.
You should get one when you're out of here. Go to the green room, and we'll get you served with a very decent cup of tea or cup of coffee. The production team is waiting outside.
Yeah.
But so folks are asking since yesterday, or since Tuesday to be precise, 72 hours. I get knocked around. Both saying can we eat this GDP report? It's good. We've exited recession, but the prices of bread hasn't come down. Could you please explain what the GDP numbers really mean?
Okay, obviously from when the GDP numbers came out, people had been making, you know, talking about this, you know, the fact that the GDP numbers mean nothing. But I think it's important to understand the fundamentals of these GDP numbers. GDP is a measure of the number of goods and services produced in the country. So it's an output measure. The other measures that people actually feel within the industry or within the economy is inflation and unemployment. Inflation is a change in the level of, or the price level within the economy. Unemployment is actually felt within the economy. So it's important to understand the difference between data and impact. These GDP numbers are Q2 GDP numbers, so it's a lagging indicator. In Q2, what we're faced with was a planting season. Commodity prices were very high because there was less supply, so that affected, you know, the prices. But if you look at where we were in 2016, prices have actually declined significantly. So why people are complaining now, they've forgotten actually where we came from. So it's actually an improvement, but at the same time, you know, we're also trying to get back to the level we were at before the recession. So exiting the recession was just, you know, a change in the figure. So we've just moved into the positive territory. It's just data, basically.
When people talk about what they buy and what they eat, is GDP numbers a very good indicator?
It's a good indicator in the sense that it actually gives you an idea of what the total economy is producing. So it's in terms of production or output,